What's up, everyone?
What's up, everyone?
Okay, so I was doing a quick mic check, and as you can see, I'm excited. I'm excited about today because today is I just hosted an event, a Toastmaster event, and it's the 19th year anniversary of my club, Toast of the Bronx, in New York, and you can see I'm all dressed up with a glass of wine. So we made a toast and everything. But the reason why I'm making this video, it's not about all this, the suit, the tie, the wine, whatever. The reason why I'm making this video is because of the fact that one of the greatest skills we can learn as human being is communication skills. All right, I'll say that again. One of the greatest skills we can learn as human being is the ability to pass information across, for you to be able to have an idea, articulate your thoughts, and then pass your message across in a very clear and concise manner. You don't get to learn this thing. I mean, there are some schools where they teach communications and public speaking, so many other things. But the point is, a lot of people don't get to learn these things while in school. And frankly speaking, communication is not something you could just learn in school. It's something you learn by engaging yourself. Okay, it's something that you learn by throwing yourself into this thing that forces you to speak, to communicate, to network, to put yourself out there. Because sometimes it even involves risk taking, but you are putting yourself out there. So that's the whole point of this video. This video is to show us how to, or to inform us on how we can improve our communication skills and our public speaking skills. Because to me, those are like the important skills that we need to have. Take, for example, you're in school, you're a student, and you're a new student. The moment you get into a class, the chances are you probably wouldn't talk to a lot of people in class unless you are so into, you know what, I'm just going to go out there and meet people and talk to people and whatever. The same thing if you get to workplaces. One key problem most people have is when people say, oh, maybe for example, you're the supervisor at your workplace, and people are like not showing a lot of recognition, to you, whatever. People maybe resent you. All of these things happen because you're not passing information across in a very clear and concise manner. You are not communicating enough. You're not communicating your message, your vision, your goals in an understandable manner. This is applicable on so many ways because take for example in life you want to meet someone, and by the way that's what we're doing, okay? You want to meet someone, let's say you want to start a business, you have to recruit people to join you on this adventure, right? Because it's an adventure when you're starting up a business. You need to be able to communicate the vision that you have with these people, okay? It's important that you need to be able to communicate that vision so they will know where this business is going, and they will be able to make an informed decision on whether or not they want to be a part of this new journey, or maybe they just want to go their own way. Same thing is applicable if you meet someone and you think that this person is a potential spouse. When you're like just being by yourself, and then maybe you're a guy, and then this lady shows up, and you're like, that's a potential partner right there. So that would require you to go approach and make your vision known. Let them know your goal. Let them know what you want. And these things requires you to do one thing, to communicate. As long as you don't know how to communicate your message, as long as you don't know how to pass your message across, you will always be misunderstood. A lot of people were misunderstood on themselves like it's a thing of pride and they say, I'm the most misunderstood. No, you're not misunderstood. You just lack the ability to communicate your skills, and there's nothing bad about it. We all suck at something. So the most important thing is instead of you calling yourself most misunderstood, watch this video and find out how you can improve your ability to communicate, because every time you remain a misunderstood person, you wouldn't be able to achieve your goals or your ideas, because everyone will always antagonize you because they don't understand your goal. I feel like I just dropped some change right now. So, where do we start? The first thing that you need to keep in mind is that communication is intentional. All right. Leadership, communication, networking, those are the three pillars by which this channel is based. And those three key things are intentional. Okay. If you want to be a great speaker, you have to be intentional about it. If you want to be a great communicator, you have to be intentional about it. If you want to be articulate in the way you pass your information across, you have to be intentional about it. Nothing happens by accident. You can't depend on accident. Okay. You can rely on an accidental success, thinking and hoping maybe it happens. You need to be clear and concise about where you are going and how you want this to come out. Because the thing is, when you do that, when you're very clear and concise, you're giving yourself a way of measuring success and failure. And if you don't have a yardstick to measure success and failure, you would just be punching the air and you wouldn't be able to know if you're succeeding or if you're failing. What this does is when you give yourself a clear yardstick for failure, what this does is a lot of people see areas of their life where they are not performing, and people don't want to face that. A lot of people don't want to admit that they are failing, so they don't give themselves that clear yardstick. But the thing is, if you want to grow, you need to give yourself that yardstick. That way, you know that, look, I'm failing in this place, and I know I'm failing, and I know it's my fault. So, what can I do? Maybe something you could do by improving yourself, or maybe something you could do by reaching out to someone and outsourcing the help. That would depend on you. By the way, I said I just finished hosting my Toastmaster anniversary event, and the event was titled Nourishing Growth. I will be uploading a video of it, and I'd like you guys to check it out from beginning to the end. You will learn amazing things, because in Toastmaster, we we have two main sessions. We have a speaking session and a table topic session. The speaking session is a session where we come and we give prepared speeches. Okay. And you have a lot of members. You have members that come and they volunteer to give a speech, and they go back and then they work on the speech, do the research, put it together, and then come to present that speech. Now, the impromptu session is what we call the table topic session. That is the session where we have a table topic speaker who comes up front, and then he calls people, and these people come out and they speak and they say things. But the benefit of the table topic session is that it provides you with the ability to think on your feet, which is what you need. Remember all the example I cited at your workplace, starting the business, someone walks up to you in the crowd, or you see someone that you like and you find attractive and you want to approach them. You need to be able to think on your feet. And that is the beauty of the table topic session. And I've said this over and over again. If you want to improve yourself as a public speaker or as a better communicator, you want to consider joining a Toastmaster club in your area. By the way, this is not a Toastmaster ad. Toastmaster is not paying me for this ad. But you want to consider joining a Toastmaster club in your area. Like I said, the event we just had was titled Nourishing Growth, and I'll be having the video. Um, but one thing I want us to keep in mind is how to improve our communication abilities. Okay, how do you do that? The very first thing you want to have in mind is that communication is intentional. Everything about being a great speaker is intentionality. You need to want to be a great speaker, else you won't be able to do anything. So the first thing is you have to be intentional. Okay, you have to be intentional. By the way, if you're joining me on this live session, comment what part of the world you're joining me from. I'd like to hear from you guys, every single one of you. Okay. Give me 1 second. Okay, now we have better light. Whew. Okay, we're back again. Sorry for the breaking transmission, but we're back. I was talking about intentionality. If you want to be a great speaker, you need to be intentional. If you're not intentional, you'll never become a great speaker. You need to be able to just tell yourself, you know what, I'm in this space. It's a lot of people. I'm shy. I have like talking, but I will still talk and remain intentional about it. Until you get to that space, if you don't get to that space, you wouldn't do anything. All right. Intentionality is everything. You have to be intentional that you want to speak. I'll give you a whole bunch of tips on how you can improve yourself. One of the things that our keynote speaker, by the way, our keynote speaker is Kubi Unyanga. I interviewed him last week on this channel. Check out the video. Shout out to Kubi Unyanga. So he was our keynote speaker, and he said something. He said things about taking risk. Okay. He said something about you will, if you join the Toastmaster Club, you will never get out of it because the knowledge you learn from it, it's tremendous. Okay, highly tremendous. So you want to join a Toastmasters Club and get the best out of it as far as communication is concerned. And he said something about just get started. For you to grow, you need to take risk. No risk, no growth. If you don't have growth, you won't be happy. No growth, no happiness. If you don't have happiness, then why are you even living? Okay, so you see how communication came from a very broad way to even a happiness level. For you to be happy in life, you need to be able to communicate. Every time you can't communicate and you feel like, oh, I'm being misunderstood by everyone, your life becomes miserable. Okay? Your life becomes miserable. Let's see. Interesting. So I'll give you a tip. Things to consider when you want to become a better communicating person or a better communicator, as we're saying Toastmasters. The very first thing you have to do is, and this could be very funny though, because the first thing you have to do is listen actively. Okay? Active listening. It's funny how you want to become a great speaker, but the first thing you have to do is become an active listener. You have to listen actively to people. Okay? So if you want to meet someone, you need to listen to them and give them the room to speak. Because if you don't and you keep talking over them, there won't be a second conversation. And that's not what you want. You want to be able to provide the avenue for a second or a follow up conversation or maybe a meet up again. So, what you want to do is listen. When you listen, people don't communicate directly like in the movies. Okay. In reality, in real life, we talk about things. We as human beings, and I get to know this as a film production student, we instead of us just saying things, we talk about things. And like in the movie, a dialogue is straightforward because you want to be moving the story forward. But in real life, as human beings, we talk about everything. We talk about things, just like instead of me just pouring a drink in this cup, like in the movie, in reality, people would just like be dancing around the cup before they eventually like now find a way to pour the drink in there. And by the way, that's how we all talk. No one is exempted from this. No one is like no one is like a 007 who always says the right thing at the right time. No one is like Harrison Ford in Indiana Jones. No one is like that in real life. In real life, we all mess up. Okay, the real life isn't like in the movies. In the movies, you have a character. The character comes. They keep progressing. They get to their arc. They have just one arc, or maybe multiple, whatever. But they transform. So many things are allowed in a movie. They're not allowed in real life. So one thing you want to learn about communication is listen. Okay, the moment you listen, remember people are talking around situations. When you listen, you can pick up exactly what you're talking about and you can give the right response. Have you ever seen people in a relationship and when someone is saying, what do you like most about your partner? They say things like, oh, I love him because he listens to me. Oh, I love her because she's a great listener. Oh, she knows exactly what I want. How do you know exactly what she wants? Because you're paying attention. That's why I said active listening. When you listen actively, active listening is not that you just like, no. Active listening means you are there in the moment. No, not and not somewhere else. Okay. You're not paying attention to the car that's moving along. You're not paying attention to people on the street. You're not paying attention to because most guys easily get distracted. Maybe a lady's walking by. No, you're not paying attention to none of those things. You are paying attention to the person that's with you in the moment. That person could be a man, it could be a woman, it could be a crowd, it could be an audience, it could be in a conference room. Your mind is not somewhere else. Your mind is right there with them. That is the beauty of active listening, and you have to practice it. There will be like an entire video on how to become an active listener. Okay, but listen carefully, pay attention, and this will lead us to the next point on how to become a better communicator. By the way, how to become a better communicator with people on one or maybe in a group, it's they both have the same ways, but I will break them down. But this one now is like focus on an individual, how to be able to communicate better with an individual. So for number one, listen actively. Number two is learn about the person. You could learn about people on the spot. You could learn, and this comes from active listening. Okay. When you listen actively, you can learn so much from people. All right. Um, God, I was just thinking about some cases where people people will only open up to you if you show them you care about them. Okay. People will open up to you if you show them you care enough about them. And the way you could do that is to listen actively to them and let them speak, and then you learn about them. After you learn about them, just because you don't interrupt them and just because you decide to listen to them, they open up to you. And I'm kind of getting a bit, fluffy because I'm remembering a lot of people that have opened up to me on so many occasions, and I realized that the only thing I did was just sit down there, not say a word, and just let them pour everything in their heart. Okay? This could be it could be a one-on-one person. It could be an audience whereby you ask a question and you just let people in the audience just speak, and everyone's just speaking. You just learn, you just learn, you just learn, and that really helps you. The next point is you need to articulate yourself by asking questions, and this is also a precursor to learning. There are ways. You're not just asking numb questions. Every question you ask needs to be progressive. You need to ask progressive questions. Progressive questions, okay? You need to ask progressive questions. If if someone tells you something, maybe you're trying to get to a destination and you ask a question, the first question should be a step towards the destination. The second one should be a step further. The third one should be a step further until you get to that destination. You don't just ask a question and stay in that section where you took just your first step. You want to be progressive as you're asking questions, as you're going forward, because you're trying to get to a destination. The destination could be anything. It could be you're trying to solve a problem. It could be you're trying to make them like you. It could be you're trying to pass a message across. It could be anything. And the funny thing is, I'm also taking these advices because I also need to improve myself on so many things. But take a moment, okay? Think about a situation whereby you met someone and they keep talking and then you keep interrupting. Ask yourself, did you ever get to talk to them again? Or ask yourself, was that conversation ever productive? If whatever your answer is, then you can keep you can keep pushing forward with whatever it is that you're doing. Okay? But you need to understand that you have to listen more, learn more, and then the next one is to articulate yourself. And the way you do this is by asking questions, progressive questions. The progressive questions is to lead you to a destination and most likely to lead whomever you're communicating with to a destination. Okay. Like I said, this could be a one on one thing, or this could be an audience. Okay. Um, the next one is to, after asking questions, reframe and summarize the responses and the feedbacks that you got. Reframe and summarize them. When you can summarize, if someone says something to you and you can summarize it back to them, if they say no, then you didn't get their ideas or you didn't get what they're trying to say. But if you reframe it and summarize it back to them and you give it back to them, then you understand what they were talking about. So you always have to reframe and summarize what people say. That helps you understand what they're saying, and that helps them ensure that you understand what they're saying. Okay? Always reframe and summarize. And then the final one is you stating your fact based on the information that you gathered, and most likely stating your opinion if needs if the needs arises. Okay, so that's the whole point. So that's how you better yourself as being a communicator, and these are all applicable both in the individual, if you're talking to someone one-on-one, or two or three, or maybe an audience in a conference room. Remember, you have to listen more, you have to learn more, you have to articulate yourself by asking questions, you have to, by asking progressive questions, you have to reframe and summarize all the feedback that you get, and then you have to now state your fact or state your opinion based on all of the things that you've been doing. Like I said, it's both applicable in the public and private situation. The final thing that I would just like to add, especially for the public, is to make it about them. Don't make it about you. Don't make everything about you. Make it about them. Let them understand that you care about them. Don't make it about you. Don't make everything about you. Very important. Okay. Those are just simple tips to hold on to. But I would say that the most important thing is you having things in your heart and just knowing that I want to improve myself. If you don't have that in your heart that you want to improve yourself, everything that I just mentioned now is garbage because you don't have that strong inner conviction. You need to have that inner conviction. I remember me, myself, when I came to New York. By the way, my name is Dapo Ibrahim. I'm from Nigeria. And I came into New York in 2014. My English was horrible. I have a very strong accent. People will make fun of me. Um, people, black, white, Spanish. When you say something, no one understands. And every time you say something, you have to repeat yourself. So I got tired and then I had to retreat back to myself. I don't really talk to people because I didn't want to keep repeating myself because the more I repeat myself, the more embarrassed I get, especially if it's in public. So I decided to join Toastmasters Club. So I joined Toastmaster in 2017, and so far it's been a ride. I've been able to accomplish way so much. Okay, way so much just by joining Toastmasters. I've been able to give multiple keynote speeches. I've given keynote speeches to a crowd of 50, 200, 500. It's not so easy, but joining Toastmaster is what really helped me to get that done. Okay, and it wasn't just joining Toastmaster. I had that strong conviction in me that you know what, I want to do this. I became desperate and I was yearning for growth. So you need to have that inner conviction and you need to have the passion for improvement. Okay. And also remember, like I said, the keynote speaker session, he said, you have to take risk if you want to grow. Taking risk involves you stepping forward and just giving your speech, whether it's good or not, whether it's bad, just go out there, put yourself in front of people and give a speech because that is when you will fully discover who you are I remember giving my very first speech. My stomach was like, it was just nasty. But then I gave the speech, and I didn't die, right? Yeah, I did not die. Um, it's just the fear that holds us back, and you have to self overcome that fear. The moment you self overcome that fear, things change for you completely. Okay, things change for you completely. So you have to be passionate. You need to have a very strong inner conviction. You need to be able to um, take risk in order to welcome growth and happiness. All right. So that's very important. So those are just a few tips that I would like to share with you guys. Like I said, I'll be posting a video of the anniversary celebration where I was the host. You see me with my wine glass too. Um, and please post comments if this video helps you. Let me know, please, if there's a specific topic you would like me to talk about. Let me know. If there is, if you're new on this channel, welcome. I love every single one of you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being a part of this channel. And if you're not yet subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and also the bell button in the subscribe section. It's very important because that would really help this channel grow. I'm trying to grow this channel. My goal is to have 100,000 subscribers by the end of this year, and I believe we can do it. So please, I'm counting on every single one of you to help this channel grow so we can reach out to the world on a very massive level and help people become better communicator, better leaders, and great at networking with people and businesses and all over the world. But until next time, when I'll be seeing you guys, remember that it's important in everything that you do to be passionate, to have very strong conviction, and to always be your best self. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.